I am Officer Simmons, the Haltom City Police Department. Then I'm the Community Outreach Officer. Normally for National Night Out, we would have great big block parties throughout the city. We would gather, there's parties, there's food, and we would have the police officers come to your locations, fire trucks would come by, and you get to meet us, we get to meet you. Talk to your community and find out what we can do better as a neighborhood to work together. Unfortunately, with COVID-19, large gatherings are still frowned upon. So we're trying to figure out what best way to still bring us to you and you to us while being responsible and social distancing. So, like I would normally do for Citizen Police Academy, we're gonna start off tonight by having a tour of the police department. You can kind of see where we work at. It's nighttime, not a lot of officers here, so I didn't get in anybody's way. Just kind of sneak around and show you where we work at. And then we'll move out to the street for a virtual ride along. I think that's a pretty good compromise for National Night Out. Feel free to comment and I'll answer your questions the best I can. Thanks, and let's go right out. And we'll go ahead and start our tour from the outside like we normally would. Come through our lobby. Our desk officer would be there during business hours to take accident reports, just like that. All right, in her to our right, this is Records and Internal Affairs offices down the hallway here. To our left, this is where our Crime Victims Liaison's office out of. They work a lot with folks in the community that find themselves to be victims of crime, and they have services helping get back on their feet. More offices on our right there. Back in the day, a little more current. All right, we're gonna come down this long hallway. The door on the left you're gonna see used to be our jail when we had a jail in the building. Since the jail is no more, we've converted this to actually our property room. So all the evidence of crimes will be stored in our, what used to be our jail. Let's see if we can get in here. That'll work. All the individual cells where we used to house prisoners, now we have different evidence types are kept in each cell. So we might have weapons in one, maybe narcotics stored in another. Some of the stuff we have to keep for a long time. Some stuff we keep for different retention periods. And of course, anything to do with homicides we have to keep forever. Our criminal investigations department. Inside of our cube farm, kind of what you'd expect. Our detectives house over here. Once a report goes to a patrol officer and they've completed their report, it gets sent here to one of our detectives. They'll take the case from there and they'll do more investigative work. Typically patrol officers, since we only have a handful in the city at a time, they're trying to answer the calls as quickly as they can and they prioritize them. The detectives will have a little more time to go into each case and maybe look for some more video or go back and question some people or show lineups and those kind of things. So detectives they take the case from their patrol officer and kind of do more detail work. This room here is one of our interview rooms. I wanted to show you this because a lot of times on TV, we see the interview rooms and they have a swinging light in there and dimly lit and those kind of things and metal. That's not it at all. So this is an interview room. Chairs and a table. That's pretty much it. There's no swinging light. There's no hooks on the floor. It's got carpet. Matter of fact, fluorescent lighting. One of those little crime show myths. This door you see here, we actually got a couple of them. I'll show you in the hallway a little better. But we have one here. I'm going to come out here. And we have another one here. These two particular cells used to be for juveniles back in the day. Now, there's different rules for holding juveniles than there are for holding adults. You have to keep your adults and your juveniles separately, but once again, we don't have the jail facility anymore. So now, this is the world's most secure stationary supplies room. They are pretty serious about how many pins you can check out. So you're not getting any paper clips anytime soon. All right, our COVID station. Every morning when we come in, we've been asked a lot about what are we doing for COVID, taking care of our officers and stuff. Every day when we come in, we have to take our temperature, record it down. It's logged electronically. We have to answer a series of COVID questions. We have a sanitized station, fresh masks that we can use. And then of course, we have some cloth masks that one of our captains bombs mix for us. So it's actually kind of nice. Administrative assistant, this is going to be our the chief's office and some captain's offices. Copy room, we've had those. Briefing room, conference room in here. We have a safety briefing that happens in this room every day before our 6 p.m. shift and before our 6 a.m. shift. As the outgoing shift leaves, they'll tell the incoming officers, hey, we had this going today, or keep it on this residence, they're out of town, or whatever needs to be passed on for safety. Those were the days. All right, this bank of lockers here, this is where we keep our evidence for the moment. So when officers come in from the street, any evidence they've collected, they'll take and they'll put in one of these lockers with no padlock. So they'll put their evidence inside there, lock it up, grab a padlock, and secure it, like all of these. Now the keys to the padlock only our property technician has. So once they're locked in these lockers, they're there until the property technician comes and gets them, so we can keep our chain of evidence. Of course, we have small, big, and really big, depending on what we get. We're going to go to our traffic office down here. Our traffic guys house out of this office. We have a sergeant and 4 guys. Sounds about right. So traffic guys, these are motorcycle cops. I had to come film in here when they weren't here because they're a whole different breed of cop. They wouldn't even let me be in this doorway probably. They usually on their motorcycles when the weather's nice. Their whole reason for existence basically is for public safety. Slow down, right? And DWIs as well. Traffic investigations, that's their bread and butter. Break rooms, of course. Sergeant's offices. All right, this room is one of our training rooms. So we have this room converted here. Officers can come in here and work out if they want to. They can partner up and work on some training, some defensive tactics trainings. And of course, once a quarter or so, we have to come in here mandatory training and make sure the officers are up on current uses of force. This is how we're going to treat certain hostile suspects. This is the best way we can do for compliance. So we use this room quite a bit. Once our officers complete their call they're on, they come in the report room and write the reports, which is exactly what's happening. Officer Trimble, Officer Parsons. Hello. In the equipment room, we have body cams that it's mandatory that we wear. Here's our bank of body cameras. This is what they look like. So we'll activate our body cams on any calls that involve the public or any calls that might have any kind of evidentiary value. So the cameras are just kind of like magnetized to us or stuck to us throughout the day. When we're done for the shift, we'll come in here and place them on these banks, and this is where it gets downloaded into a secure server somewhere. So as far as the officer is concerned, you take it off, stick it on, turn it on, and then when you're done, turn it off, stick it back on the cradle. Not a whole lot to the magic of body cameras. This is our mini lab. If our officers take anything off the street that needs some additional processing, this is where we're going to bring it into. As silly as it may seem, we may take something that's a leafy green substance with a very peculiar odor. We're going to bring it in here before we can say, hey, this suspect's being charged with possession of marijuana. We have to prove that it is indeed marijuana and not, I don't know, oregano. So we'll take some of these testing kits, we'll weigh the substance, place it in a presumptive test is what it is, and then it'll give us a response. Either it is marijuana, heroin, cocaine, whatever we think it might be, or it is not. Once we have the positive presumptive test and the weight, then we'll include that in our charges. We also have our DNA collection stuff in here. We have some fingerprint stuff in here. And the line up top, the little white line, that's something we can hang for drying. Believe it or not, anytime you watch a crime show and they hold up the plastic bag with a bloody knife or whatever in it, and they're like, hey, is this what the knife was? No, no. Anytime you see anything bloody and wet on a TV show in a courtroom, that is false. We have to dry that evidence before we ever try to process it. So Sorry I ruined some cop shows for you. Our SWAT guys live in there. I mean, not literally, but. And then heading out this part of the building. Our gym. We do have a nice workout facility for officers to come in here and work out. Believe it or not, the #1 killer for police officers is not other people. It's actually heart problems, heart attacks will kill a police officer more than anything else. So at Haltom City, at least, we are urged to come in here and work out frequently every day if we can, just so we can make sure we keep ourselves healthy. And then coming out the back. And this is what's lovingly referred to as our patrol side. Hold the door. So you can see now that our shift is pretty much all on the street because there's no more vehicles left around. But we come out here and we hop in a patrol car and we go for a ride. We start going answering calls. That's pretty much the tour for our building, since we don't have a jail facility. We filmed this at night so that we wouldn't bother too many of our civilians. And of course, we have a lot of shy police officers. I guess they don't want to be on camera. So now we're going to take you inside a actual police car so you can check out what our office looks like.